Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Myra from Low Carb Love, and today we're gonna be making 2 different types of zucchini fries. So it's gonna be low carb, keto friendly, so stay tuned for this. But before we get started, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of my future videos. So I have a ranch recipe on the channel. I'm gonna link it in the description for you, but I've never tried making a buttermilk. So right now we're gonna try it. Let me know if you've already tried it. So we have our almond milk here, vinagre, some vinegar. We're just going to pour our vinegar right in. And I'm doing this right now because we're gonna set it aside, and it needs about, I would say 5 to 10 minutes for it to like activate. So we're going to set this aside. If you take a look, you can already tell, you can see that it like curdles the milk. So maybe it'll work. Maybe it will. Let's go ahead and set this aside though. We'll check back on it. We'll see if there's any bubbles or any action going on in here, okay? So we'll set that down, and we will, we'll get started with our pork rind version. So this is literally just crushed pork rinds. So you can buy a bag and just kind of crush it, or you can already get like a pre-made pork rind crumb, basically. And then we have some Parmesan. The Parmesan cheese is gonna give it like a crispy, crunchy, texture. You could get that even with the pork rinds alone, but I feel like it just adds to it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna season our pork rinds because it's unseasoned. So we have Italian seasoning and some pepper, salt and pepper. Okay. So the pork rinds tend to be, they can be salty unless they're completely unsalted. Then at that point, you can add a little more, but mine are, so I don't need to add that much. So it's kind of like to taste. And then we have our parm. So we're just going to add in our Parmesan cheese, mix this together. Okay, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna use as our flour. So I don't know if you've heard of Lupin flour. If you've been following me here for a while, you know that I do incorporate Lupin flour into some of my recipes. This is a 0 carb flour, and it's pretty flavorless, but I feel it's super fine. So it's going to work just like a traditional flour would work for this recipe. And I'll show you once we get it coated. But right now, let's go ahead. Ooh. Okay, we're gonna do our 2 eggs. We are going to whisk our eggs really quickly. And this is a super simple recipe. You can use an air fryer, you can fry these stovetop, but we are going to bake them. So I'm gonna show you how they can still come out really crispy in the oven. So we have our baking sheet. We will need to add a piece of parchment paper. So we'll just lay that. Actually, we might do 2. So we fit both on here. So we're basically gonna divide it in half. I'm gonna make this side with the pork and this side with the almond. So we have our flour. This is our Lupin flour that's gonna coat our zucchini, our egg wash. This is the pork rinds, and this is our almond flour. So the almond flour, we are going to season it, okay, and add our Parmesan cheese to make our breading, okay? So we have our almond flour, which is just literally fine almond flour, parm, okay, salt and pepper, and Italian seasoning. So let's go ahead and move on to assembling. We have our zucchini here. And what we're gonna do first is you're gonna grab your zucchini, your fry, and just dip it into the Lupin flour. So it's just going to absorb like the moisture, and then it's gonna let the egg stick to it, which will just lead to like a crunchier fry, okay? So we'll, just for the sake of keeping our fingers clean, okay, just kind of dust off the excess, toss it in the egg, Okay, and then onto the breading. Okay, so let that get it nice and a good coating on there. See that? And boom. So we're just gonna repeat that step for the rest of these, but it's very simple. Okay, so just coat, then your egg, and your breading. All right guys, so we're all done. Here are both versions, the almond flour and the pork panko. Now make sure that your oven is preheated to 425 degrees. We're gonna bake this for 10 minutes and I'm gonna show you how crunchy these turn out. Okay, so we have our zucchini fries out. So really quickly, because I want them to be nice and crunchy and crispy, we're gonna make our homemade ranch. So we have our sour cream. You know what? It actually turned out. So we made our little buttermilk with almond milk and we're just gonna pour it as is. So let's go ahead and pour that in. So now we have our sour cream, buttermilk. We have our avocado mayo. Okay, lemon juice. Garlic. So this is minced garlic. I'll do this one so it looks clean. Minced garlic. Tabasco. Okay. Now we have our garlic powder. This is some parsley. So this is dried parsley, but you can use fresh. And then we have some dill. I got this from my pickle jar because I didn't have any. So you could just use whatever you have. And now we are going to whisk and turn this into ranch. So we have our ranch, buttermilk ranch done. It worked, proud of that. And now we are going to plate our zucchini fries, our ranch, take a nice little photo, and then stay tuned for the taste test. We've plated our zucchini fries, our ranch. I did add a little bit of sriracha. You can see that right there. So we're gonna go in for the taste test. I'm going in for the pork rinds because they look crispy and crunchy. This one does too. We'll taste that one next. But let's go ahead and mix. Okay, you can see that. Okay, I like a lot of dressing. A lot. Let's go. Oh yeah. Pork rinds. Bomb. Love it. And this one here is the almond flour. It's not as crispy, but it's still good. So if you don't want to use the pork rinds, I know that there are a few companies that sell like a packaged bag of like an almond flour based breadcrumb. And Real Fat Foods has one. I do have a discount code, which is lowcarblove. I'll link it down in the description below. But you can obviously make your own. Again, it doesn't have like that crunch the way the pork rinds do, but it's still really good. And I think that if you fried it, it might get a little bit crispier. But overall, I think that if you have the pork rinds, make them delicious. They're crunchy. They taste like real zucchini fries. So I think you guys are gonna love them. When you guys make them, make sure to come back, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Rate them so that other people can see and make them as well, because you know that's like your way of communicating with me. I love going in there, reading your comments and seeing what you guys think of my recipes. I'm gonna leave the recipe in the description below. That's gonna take you to lowcarblove.com, where you're actually gonna be able to print this recipe along with exclusive recipes that I don't share anywhere else on the internet. So make sure you check that out. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. That's one of the ways that you show me love in return. And if you still want a little more of me, make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, where I share more recipe ideas and just a glimpse into my everyday life. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I will see you on the next video. Mwah! Now I'm gonna go and enjoy my zucchini fries.